Redditors who have hired a private investigator. What did you find out? My dad hired a PI in the mid-90s in Eastern Europe to find out if one of his business partners was stealing from him. Instead he found out his own brother was stealing from him. He refused to believe the PI and his brother robbed him blind. Took a huge amount of money and left him with gigantic debt. He still forgave him. I had a girlfriend that worked for one for a while. She said that the majority of their work was insurance scams. She took a lot of pictures of guys who said they were hurt on the job playing golf and surfing and such. There seems to be a lot of that in this thread. Sometimes I wonder if I'd be able to pull off such a scam because any investigator would only be able to determine that after the accident I didn't post my life on social media and I almost never engaged in strenuous activity outside the house. So no change there then. My story is a little different. I had a PI investigate me. About 6 years ago I became very ill with a variety of issues, that left me really quite poorly. I was an optician and so using my hands with arthritis was just never going to be a plan. So I applied for UK disability support. I sailed through, and started receiving a monthly amount. Now, fast forward a few years. I then start getting restless at home so I retrain into a job that doesn't involve my hands. I stop receiving money, except for the benefit you can get while you work. I use it for paying a better automatic car off. Well, my very nasty mother's friend saw me start work and called the benefits office, assuming I was still claiming. Unfortunately, she exaggerated and told them I was living a normal life and even running daily. So the benefits office filmed and watched me. They thought they had an aha. Gotcha moment. Their PI provided photos of me walking unaided. When I sat in the meeting, with a lot of smug fraud officers and my solicitor, I felt sick to my stomach. I really couldn't work out WTF was going on. They were trying to make it look like I had been running and jogging, but I knew I walked never any further than 5 meters to my car. Anyway. Solicitor pointed out the photos were screenshots of a video. Asked for the videos. Videos were of me struggling to walk. One of them I rest on my car before opening my door. Another I was going into a supermarket and had replaced my cane with a trolley to lean on. You get the picture. So, the fraud team basically said oh oops, and I never heard from them again. I spend a lot of my time trying to appear normal and it bit me in the ass. And never trust these fraud TV shows now either. This stuff makes me so angry. I have a relative who has serious disabilities and the shit the assessors try to pull to prove they don't need support is astounding. Like greeting them at a meeting, pretty much at the door, with "How are you?" To which the British reflex is to say fine. Most Brits would say they were fine if they had a leg hanging off and were on fire. Then they make copious notes of how my relative said they were fine. When my dad opened his shop in the city, he hung up a sign over the door. One of his customers, who works for the city, asked him if he had a permit for it. Upon inquiring why he would need a permit for a sign, the customer told my dad that he works near the guy responsible for said permits, who receives multiple emails with photos of signs attached, asking if these were permitted. Someone actually walks around the city and sends actual mails about simple shop signs. The problem is that some news rags run regular stories about benefit cheats. Since we have a government safety net that is provided via taxes, people do feel they have some sort of right to hate on people getting government benefits. There are cheats. There are people who fiddle the system. Some get caught. Some are not cheating, but are lambasted as how dare two adults on disability have 3 kids born before they were disabled, how dare they have a TV or mobiles. Don't you know they have to be sitting there in rags being pathetic and grateful for the scraps thrown their way? Some don't have the greatest life plan or decision making, but that doesn't mean they deserve the vitriol and hate. Then there are a lot of people who absolutely deserve the help they get to stop them falling into poverty, to allow them to live as near to normal as possible. My law firm had a bad faith insurance case several years ago. A guy had gotten hurt at work. He claimed he was disabled because he hurt his back, and could not lift anything or really engage in any type of physical activity. His disability insurance carrier failed to handle the claim and pay him what was owed. There was a potential for relatively large damages. In fact, the carrier filed in the court case what is known as an offer to confess judgment. It's a way of agreeing to let judgment be taken for that amount. The plaintiff can accept the offer or reject it. However, if he rejects the offer, he is responsible for the defendant's attorney's fees if the verdict ends up being less than the amount of the offer to confess judgment. The offer in this case was $750,000. He rejected the offer. A few weeks later, our PI found out that the plaintiff bowled every week. The PI got video of the plaintiff bowling and copies of his score sheets going several years back through the date of the accident. It was clear he really was not disabled. He also found that plaintiff had been in a car wreck and was making identical injury claims to the other driver's insurance carrier. We filed a motion with the court to dismiss the lawsuit based upon fraud and perjury. The court set the motion for a hearing, but before that happened, the plaintiff dismissed his lawsuit.